So Antonio Conte has this role in his midfield called Catenaccio. Catenaccio is somebody who does the dirty work in the defensive midfield, clears up the ball for the midfielders and the attacking midfielders and passes the ball from the defenders. So it's that plug-in role that is very important. That's a very important pivot in his teams.
Hello and welcome to the Confessions of a B2B Entrepreneur podcast. My name is Tom Han, your host, and today we have Aditya Shivkumar, who is one of the founders of a company called RDO. And we dig into, in this conversation, his legal background, how that is helping him as a founder, and also what he's learned from football managers such as Jose Mourinho that he applies into his business today. So before we get into that, quick shout out to Fame for producing this show. If you like a show like this, please go to fame.so and request a proposal. And let's jump into that conversation right now. Aditya, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Tom. It's a pleasure to connect with you and also connect with your audience and people who listen to your podcast around the world.
Awesome. So my first question, and one that I'm quite interested in, is why transition from being a lawyer to being a essentially founder of a B2B company? And the reason why I ask is because in my head, being a lawyer is an excellent business to be in. You're there when people really need you and can charge quite a lot of money. So the question is, why switch over into a lot of entrepreneurship?
It's a very interesting question, Tom. I think, first of all, being a lawyer today, many people think that it is suits and Harvey Specter all over again. But unfortunately for lawyers today, it is a combination of Game of Thrones and House of Cards fused together. So every day we have to argue, every day we have to be alive, every day we have to ensure that we thrive and survive on the day. Now, when I began my legal career in 2010, I realized that litigation gave me passion. Litigation gave me the desire to go out and argue in courts and fight for justice. But I think in the mid-2010s was the phase when technology also started picking up. And when we felt more, both me and my co-founder, who incidentally is a friend of mine from university, we decided how to fuse technology and our expertise together. So how do we make a desirable impact? Making an impact is all what litigation is all about. Making an impact on the judiciary, making an impact for your clients, making an impact for yourself is what every litigator worth of salt will want to look at. So when we decided that we want to start something together in the technology space, we said, what do we do? How do we fuse the best of what we have? We are lawyers and we feel technology is something we can be at the intersection of law and technology together. And entrepreneurship is fun. I mean, if you're a lawyer today, you're half entrepreneur. Because at the end of the day, you run your own business. Running a law firm is like running your business. It focuses on top line, it focuses on bottom line, it focuses on key deliverables. So becoming a legal tech entrepreneur, I won't say it's an entrepreneur, but I'd say a legal tech entrepreneur where the intersection of law and technology, I say is perhaps the sweet spot for every lawyer to be today. And I strongly feel that transitioning was easy, but the journey has not been easy because entrepreneurship is all about grit and possibly resilience.
We will get into the journey shortly. Aside from because obviously your business is in the legal space, aside from the obvious legal knowledge transfer from you being a lawyer to applying it to your business, what are the skills that you developed as a lawyer help you as an entrepreneur?
See, I think your training as a lawyer, you are able to understand three key skill sets that is required today. The ability to identify a problem, the ability to logically deduce the end solution for that problem when the problem is spoken to you. The third important skill set is how do you navigate or fuse both the problem and solution together. Now, tomorrow when a client comes to you as a lawyer and says, I have this problem, you may have a solution that may be completely counter to his thought process. So how do you logically and analytically explain that to him? So being a lawyer gives you a perspective of what the other person thinks. And this is a very important thing today in entrepreneurship. I wish people know this when they develop products and they understand what is it good, what is it for people today. Always put yourself in the other person's shoes. Always put yourself in the person sitting opposite you. Think how he would think. Unless you think how he would think, you're not going to be a successful lawyer. It is the same thing that we brought into entrepreneurship as well. So when we met with people from various judicial departments and other departments around the world, we left our thinking cap outside. We went in with wearing the hat of a decision maker who sits on the other side of the table. And I think that's what the legal profession does to you. It allows you to think on the spot. It allows you to be razor sharp, but at the same time, it allows you to have a long-term vision into any particular problem or any particular pitch that you want to do.
Makes total sense. Let's now dig into the creation of RDO. How did you guys spot the opportunity for the solution that you've been building for the last few years?
For this, I have to get back to 2008, when both my co-founder and I became the youngest mediators in England at that point in time. So I was just about 19 or 20 at that point, and my co-founder was about 24. So we decided to enroll ourselves in a mediator accreditation course in London, qualified to become certified mediators. And then we decided, how do we put use to our qualification? And that was the time when disputes began to rise across the world in terms of landlord-tenant disputes or whatever disputes that may arise. And we wanted to give back to the society. We want to give back to the ecosystem. But what best than giving back to an ecosystem where you can also conceive a product together? You conceive a product together. You try to come up with a solution that will help people who've got backlogs of disputes. So we decided to come up with our first startup, which was a B2C offering between 2013 and 2016. Now, that particular startup, again in the same online dispute resolution space, was a spectacular failure. It is a spectacular failure because we didn't know what the market wanted. It is a great proof that when you don't study your market, you're going to fail incredibly well. That was the greatest learning lesson for me in 2016. Then we went back to the drawing board. And this is where our ability as lawyers come to the fore. We decided to see how can we retweak this entire model altogether. And I remember having this conversation with my co-founder. I was driving down a highway from Madurai to Chennai, and I was telling him, why don't we look at a B2B opportunity? And we spoke nearly for about 2.5 hours, and we tried to see how do we conceive this. And I think it is those instinctive, gut-driven decisions that make RDO today. Everything was driven on an instant, a gut, but possibly because we were lawyers, we knew what we were doing. So if you know what you're doing, and if failure comes to you early in life, then definitely I'm sure the startup is going to be a successful one. And that's where we are today. I mean, early failures, retweaking the business model, retweaking the revenue model, and ensuring that we are a B2B startup today is where I feel our journey is. And I'd say we are relatively successful today.
Can you just high level explain what RDO does so the audience has some context?
So we are essentially enterprise-driven online dispute resolution solution provider. We work with courts, tribunals, gatekeepers of disputes around the world, and we help address a critical problem. The problem of keeping disputes on your system is going to cost much more than what it is if it is off it. So we are essentially an enabler for dispute resolution. We do not try to replace existing personnel or people. We do not try to replace existing personnel or people, but we work with the existing system to ensure that dispute resolution is more efficient. So we are currently across few countries, few state courts in the US use our platform, and they found it extremely useful. Few agencies of government in the European Union use our platform, and they found it to be extremely useful and productive. It helps them resolve disputes in a more efficient manner. So think of us as a enabler and a pusher for enterprises as opposed to being a revolutionary product. We are an evolutionary product in a revolutionary landscape.
Very well put. What is your personal role in the business?
So I'm one of the co-founders of the business, and there are two co-founders here. So I oversee the operations of the team. I oversee the, of course, top line and bottom line of the team, and at the same time have a critical role in how we shape the product and how we shape the ecosystem.
And so in terms of the split of responsibilities between yourself and your co-founder, are they like focusing on the technology and then you're focusing on the commercial side?
So my co-founder focuses on the product as well as the commercial aspects, but I focus on the technology and the operations of the technology.
Makes total sense. And how have you funded the business?
See, I think that again is a story of every startup entrepreneur. We bootstrapped as long as we could. There were days when we didn't have monies to pay server bills. There were days when the server was about to close down, about to shut down, and then I had to swipe a credit card to pay the bills. So we've started there. And we strongly believe in building a team, in building a strong and cohesive team. So all our team members are with us ever since we began our journey in 2016. So how I define the startup today is that there's a core spine that guides the startup that has been there from 2016, and you do have other players who come and go as and when the situation arises. We did a very small round in 2020, 2021, and I think COVID has been a tremendous blessing in disguise for us. I always believe that when there is crisis, you have to make the best use of it. When there is chaos, you have to make the best use of it as a businessman. So for us, COVID was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I empathize and sympathize with people who have lost their lives during COVID. But I think that was the watershed moment for legal technology. Had COVID not come, we would still possibly even now being trying to create awareness amongst people on how to resolve disputes using technology. But COVID was like a switch that flipped. Courts still had to resolve cases. They needed an interface. They needed technology. So it was at that time when we did our seed round, and we have some very strong, passionate legal tech investors on our board, and we are now again going back to the market to raise Series A funding because we've achieved some significant traction.
Very nice. And these regional courts in the US and the courts in the EU, how did you get them as customers?
See, I think, as far as EU is concerned, it was through intensive audit that had taken place. And we had to ensure that we passed stringent norms in terms of technology. We had to pass through first couple of rounds of evaluation before we got the gig. So I think right now it's in the third year of its usage. As far as the US state courts are concerned, some of them are word of mouth. Some of them are through our reselling partners in the US. So we actually believe that the reselling network and the reselling channel partners play a pivotal role to our growth.
Makes total sense. Are you guys are you profitable or on the road to profitability, or are you planning on raising more funds?
See, I think we are possibly at the stage of break even. And I think we should hit profitability in the next financial year. And I think when we hit profitability, the entire landscape changes. We are looking to raise more funds because as an entrepreneur, I always believe that you need fuel to grow. The fuel that came into the vehicle called RDO in 2020 is possibly at quarter of the tank. So we want to go faster, we want to go quicker. So we need more fuel, more jet fuel into our system to ensure that we are able to fly better.
Good analogy. And what would you say is like the ultimate goal of the business for you? Like, what are you like get out of it? And like, why would you keep doing it?
See, at the end of the day, you start something because you want to have an end vision. So when we began the business, we said, how many lives can we impact with our technology? How many courts can we impact using our technology? How can we play the role of a catalyst to dispute resolution? And our vision is very simple. We want to be the best in the business. We want to be the go-to technology company when it comes to online dispute resolution. And we want to ensure that in the next 24 months, we achieve our vision. Every startup goes through its ups and downs. Every startup goes through its challenging phases. And every startup goes through its trying times. But I think we are in a situation where we are ready to face whatever comes our way. And I must tell this to you, Tom, that in 2017 up to 2024, up to last year, there was a flurry of ODR startups around the world. There were competitors of us that raised almost about $7 or $8 million. There were competitors of us that have been acquired by a few resellers in the US. This was that phase between 2017 to 2021-22. But we have been able to ensure that through strategic alliances and strategic calls, we've been able to ensure that we have defeated each one of them in as many tenders as possible through word of mouth, through good teamwork, through good advisors. And today I'm happy to say that all our competitors have either been acquired or have bitten the dust. We are still the last man standing, and we will ensure that we will outrun everybody in this industry.
Does AI have a role to play in the online resolution process?
Definitely. I feel that, AI is here to stay, but it also depends on what is the Lakshman Rekha. I use the word Lakshman Rekha, but in a language that a lot of your viewers may understand is what is the red line. Can AI substitute the entire framework of judiciary or of courts or of lawyers? I'd say no. Answer is no. So as far as dispute resolution is concerned, AI can only play an enabling role. You will still need human sympathy, empathy, and sentiments of humans to resolve disputes. So it has a use case in improving efficiency, but it certainly cannot replace the emotive intelligence of a human.
I totally agree. What would you say is like your unique ability, like the thing that you do that's better than anyone else, that gives you loads of energy?
As a business or as me personally?
You personally.
Well, I think it's the ability to think, ability to strategize, ability to look at a long-term vision, and the ability to compartmentalize whatever I want to do on a daily basis that gives me that unique selling point over the others today. Because, Tom, today, when I see people around me, when I see like-minded people around me, when I see entrepreneurs, when I see what is happening around the world today, we live in a generation where even finishing 30th, you are given a medal and you are given an award. Even finishing 25th today, people congratulate you. So when you are in an ecosystem, where finishing 30th gives you an award, you are looking at a generation where pressure, crisis, failure, these three key elements that determine what an entrepreneur is today is not there with people. So I bring that to the table, where ability to soak in pressure, ability to press up high and ensure that you're able to win, ensure you're able to get things done, is something that I bring in. See, because otherwise it's very difficult. Today you're having a new class of people who are educated but unemployable, not unemployed, unemployable, because they don't know what failure is, what crisis is, what pressure is. Even if you pressurize somebody today, Tom, they say that I'm going to quit work. If you pressurize today, they say that, oh, there's so much of pressure, I have to go to counseling, I have to go to therapy. I see all of that. And I think internal strength, grit, ability to handle pressure, and ability to tackle crisis is what I bring to the table. And that, I think, is a dying breed.
So my question to you then is, obviously you have people on your team, and as you guys grow, you'll need more people on your team. How are you going to be able to filter for the people that have the grit and the people that have failed?
See, today we've got a very stringent process of recruiting. And one of the key things that we look at is their ability to tackle pressure. So we put people on probation for about 3 months to try and see whether they fit into the culture or we fit into their culture because sometimes people work efficiently and we can learn from their efficiency also. So if I were to draw an analogy to a game called football or soccer that I always believe in, Tom, I see the smile on your face, and because we've been speaking about it for quite some time, it's the pressure cooker mentality. Can you soak in the pressure when you don't have possession of the ball? Can you soak in the pressure when you need to deliver things? When you soak in the pressure when you have to deliver for your clients? So we look at for all these qualities. We look for the ability for people to think on their own. And that's something that I bring to the table. So when we recruit, we look for all of that. And as a policy, we ensure that we recruit from places where people want an opportunity to work for a startup. So many of our staff, many of our colleagues are from tier 2 and tier 3 cities of India. So we want to make that impact as a company. We want to give them that platform where through their work, they are able to impact a user in a remote place in the US, a remote state in the US who uses that technology.
Nice. Are there any other learnings or wisdom you've gained from your avid footballing knowledge that you apply in the business today?
So actually quite a few, Tom, and I think time permitting, I'll possibly spend about another minute on this. So I am a student of football management. I study the tactics of Antonio Conte. I don't know if this makes me popular or unpopular amongst your viewers, but the next one's going to be big. I'm also a huge fan of Jose Mourinho. So both these players, both these managers have got a huge impact on the way I think, the way I look at a solution today. So what I learn, what I bring to the business is the ability to win. That's the key message that I learned from both these managers. So Antonio Conte has this role in his midfield called Catenaccio. A Catenaccio is somebody who does the dirty work in the defensive midfield, clears up the ball for the midfielders and the attacking midfielders and passes the ball from the defenders. So it's that plug-in role that is very important. That's a very important pivot in his teams. Now, I've learned the ability to ensure that you become the Catenaccio of your own business. You need to ensure that you are able to clear out the passes, clear out the way for your team to play. The team is my colleagues are my team. And as a player, you have to be a player along with them for you to win. You have to wear the hat of a player. And I believe that nothing is impossible. I believe that resilience is important. Grit is important. There may be situations where you may be losing. And when I say losing a game, it could be losing a contract with someone that you had hoped would improve your top line or bottom line. Now, that is a setback or a failure, and we're happy to take that setback or failure. We're not going to dwell around it, but we're like, how do we win the next contract? How do we win the next business? What is it that we can do better? So grit and resilience is all what I've learned from both Conte and Mourinho.
Makes total sense. Okay, we've had some wisdom. We've had some wisdom about the legal profession, some wisdom about the founder journey, and finally there's some wisdom about how football management tactics can be applied to business. Aditya, we're obviously going to link to your LinkedIn profile and to the RDO website below. Is there anything else we should link to or mention?
What's there on LinkedIn is very clear. What's there on the RDO is also very clear. And I think what I would also request your viewers to do is to learn more about RDO. Come and have a chat with us. We are ready to resolve disputes anywhere in the world by providing you a technology that is robust, state-of-the-art, and above everything else, one that can make a change.
Absolutely. And on that note, we can close. Aditya, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Tom. Truly appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much for listening. What do we think, guys? What do we think about the football learnings? And what do we think about the legal learnings? Reach out to Aditya if you have any questions. Big shout out to Fame for producing this show. Thanks to Aditya, obviously, for coming on. And thanks to you for listening.